Raindance Film Festival.
Obviously, just even though I think HDV and HD are not so miles apart, I do think it's within the, if you expose pretty well and think about what you're doing and choose. I think there are differences between putting a focus on infinity and putting a focus on things close to the camera. I think the way you construct your images is important. You just can't chuck out a rule book. But all that said and done, I think you can marry these two formats pretty well together if you're careful about your choice of, you can certainly use them. And fundamental tools are like noise reduction. I use a lot of stuff. I go amok in post because I love it. I think it's a great place to be. But you can work with pretty accessible and economically payable tools, can't you? Even at home in your Final Cut Pro and stuff like that.
And we've been pretty surprised how robust the material was actually in the grading. Out of the little horror scenarios I've been experiencing before with HDV formats, I actually was a bit afraid of using these cameras, but you were able to go quite far in the grading in these sequences before you could even see those scary artifacts or something coming up, so it was pretty impressive. If you use any HDV camera, and especially also the Canon series of cameras, don't use them as they come out of the box, but do your tests. You have nice little setup menus in there, and there was one point where we, by setting up for a softer contrast curve and other color setup, we were able to match it much better into filmic world.
And there's so much you can do not post where you think you can make all sorts of flashy effects, but there's so much you can do with color and contrast and darkness and light, which can change a scene radically. It's almost like putting another language on a film, another accent or whatever. I try and shoot raw, is really the word, as much as I can. As much as I can. I'd rather have as much latitude as possible because I can get the contrast in the material if I can control the end image. If you have to walk away and you can't control it, then I'd be petrified. I come to London, I sit in an editing suite with a film like Brothers of the Head, and I had state-of-the-art, wonderful tools which did help that film visually to come on, and I can do much more work for the directors.
What I can just in general say is some rules about these adapters is try to use an adapter which sticks not to the front lens of the camera but goes straight to lens mount, where again the XH1 is perfect for getting this done. Actually, I'm not a big fan of all other adapters which are sticked in front of the lens of the camera, because what happens is actually you got 18 lenses inside such a zoom lens as it is, then there comes the adapter and you end up having 30 pieces of glass in between, and you're losing a lot of light sensitivity actually. That's a withdrawal of the other adapter systems, and especially if you're on a low budget shoot, what happens is night scenes might become ridiculously expensive, or because you need huge amounts of light. So it's obviously always a matter of money and things, but technically the Mini 35 or Pro 35 adapter, the bigger one, they are the best. But I always encourage, instead of then using the video lens, if you're shooting daytime, of course, just take the other adapter and use any tool which helps you to create a different language. You always have to look at the budget and things, so I absolutely understand this. But if you have a choice, go for the one which sticks straight to the camera, and you have no additional pieces of glass in between.
I think any cameras that help people with a voice and with a story to tell who haven't been able to tell a story before because they've been isolated by an elitist society, I think it's fantastic they get a chance to tell stories, because that's how you learn to tell stories. It's fantastic.
It is easy format, easy camera to get out and shoot and really cheaply do maybe interesting, great pictures, but the problems lie in the end of it. So if you're, for example, editing on Final Cut Pro, or like doing your own home setup, editing HD, there's a lot of things which you have to take care of and which you should really test in the online phase, where the material is put together. And also if you go into professional post-production houses, since HDV is having so many small traps in there, you really have to be, in order to get top-notch quality, you really have to be following that process and checking that everything's all right.
I have the kind of life now where my agents are sort of very much more active, suggesting I do this and suggesting I do that, and now I'm at that kind of mature age. I should be cementing my alliance with Hollywood, and God knows what else they can say to me. I think the developments around the corner are now going to gallop, because they're beginning to sort the major fundamentals in digital cinema. So I think we're getting very close.